love. Is it really everything we need? Nowadays, society often proclaims romantic love as the highest aspiration that humans can achieve. It's something we all desire, and it has formed the basis of countless books, poems, music, and films. We pursue it with the belief that romantic love will bring eternal happiness, allowing us to live forever in joy and eliminating sadness. However, sadly, in most cases, romantic love is not what we imagined. It is not a source of everlasting happiness. It cannot cure our loneliness or unhappiness. In fact, according to some, loving each other, despite the initial excitement, can sometimes be more harmful than beneficial. Being caught in the whirlwind of emotions that are uncontrollable, from intense joy to unbearable pain, can lead to a weakening of both mental and physical health. Society teaches us that love is essential, but we also need to recognize that love is not everything. Sometimes balance and self-control in life are more important than ever and are becoming increasingly neglected. There is scientific evidence that love can be harmful. Also, according to Buddhist philosophy, romantic love can prevent us from achieving happiness. This is truly ironic because society often considers romantic love to be a core element of happiness. Therefore, most of us want to have a lover so that we can experience it intensely. However, love has serious weaknesses. Although this is completely contrary to societal beliefs, the idea of staying away from love, or romantic love, is still worth considering by those who doubt. This article will explore the reasons why we should think twice before loving. 1. Romantic love, a strange source? When we love, life changes completely. People we usually don't notice suddenly become more lovable, and tasks we used to dislike no longer seem so bad. The sky becomes more beautiful, colors more vibrant, and our worries dissipate like morning mist under the sun. It's no wonder people rush to experience this. There's nothing quite like it. Love seems to make everything else pale in comparison, whether good or bad, suddenly revealing their significance. It's as if our previous life was chaotic and disorderly. Our dull existence now becomes brighter, and our emptiness is filled. We view love as something supernatural, mystical, and humans have long composed countless poems, love stories, songs, operas, plays, movies, and TV shows to celebrate this profound event. The British philosopher Bertrand Russell emphasized, "I believe that romantic love is the source of the greatest pleasures that life can bring." In the relationship between men and women, when they love each other passionately, imaginatively, and tenderly, there is an invaluable value that cannot be measured by anything else, and it is a major deficiency in anyone's life. According to scientific studies, we experience intense love because our brains release chemicals like dopamine and oxytocin, which are associated with feelings of desire, excitement, euphoria, and bonding. These are crucial factors in attracting and cementing relationships. Interestingly, some scientists have drawn comparisons between romantic love and drug use. Dr. Helen Fisher, an anthropologist and senior research fellow, has suggested that romantic love is equivalent to using cocaine. In an article in the scientific journal Nautilus, she stated that from euphoria to withdrawal, romantic love is like an addiction, indicating that the craving love induces is an essential part of all addictions. Fisher derived these conclusions from brain scan results, showing that when in love, brain regions activate similarly to those when using drugs. Therefore, people in love exhibit behaviors similar to those of addicts. According to her, as obsession intensifies, Lovers will go to great lengths to interact with their beloved, a phenomenon known in addictive literature as craving. Through these studies, we can better understand the intense feelings and power of love, often viewed as a form of chemical addiction of the mind and emotions. They also obsessively think about their beloved, a type of preoccupation that fundamentally leads to dependency, similar to using drugs. Therefore, like a drug, love is addictive. Similarly, we need a way to overcome it. We need that person to experience and maintain the excitement we crave. Otherwise, we will experience withdrawal symptoms equivalent to those of addicts. To break free from our dependency on the drug we desire, in the case of lovers, the person they love, we need to go through a withdrawal phase to weaken our attachment. 2. Love as a distortion of reality. Loving someone means we immerse ourselves in admiration for them. Thus, we wear rose-colored glasses, where we see a much more attractive and idealized image of them compared to their reality. This love goggles phenomenon blinds us to the flaws of the person we love. Consequently, we can be drawn to individuals who are abusive, arrogant, and selfish, those who care little about our happiness beyond fulfilling their own agendas. We may even believe that the person we love is special, while logically questioning the existence of such a notion. Perhaps there are millions of others who are more suitable for us than the person we are fixated on. However, in love, we often perceive an ordinary person as someone unique and uniquely suited to be with us. We even worship love and embellish it with a mystical significance, as if it carries within it a power superior to simple biological aspects. Love makes us willing to take risks and make irrational decisions without thinking. We can deceive and pretend to be different to attract others, abandon our own values and boundaries to behave in ways we usually wouldn't, just to be with the person we desire. We can love within marriage. This experience can be so intense that we are willing to risk marital life by deceiving. It could even be positive. When we love, obstacles become opportunities. Whether it's money, cultural differences, religion, desire to have children or not, psychological issues, or geographical distance, things we often see as barriers, we now see them as challenges to overcome. Unfortunately, we often underestimate these barriers and fail to recognize the underlying issues they can cause in relationships, leading to troubles and pain. In my view, people in love often blur reality, change priorities and daily habits to fit the person they love, sometimes engaging in inappropriate, risky, or extreme actions to maintain contact or attract the attention of that special person. Even one's personality can change, termed as disruptive influence. In fact, many superstitious people are willing to sacrifice themselves for their loved ones, even risking their lives for them. But particularly, the fear of being abandoned by a loved one can push us to act recklessly. We might stalk them, cause disturbances in public, or even resort to violence. Thus, it seems that love can turn a sensible and intelligent person into someone obsessed and foolish. We become slaves to irrational impulses, unable to defend ourselves against our biological urges. Philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer once said, "After intercourse, the devil's laughter is heard." His meaning is that after our craving and desire for our loved one reaches its climax, when it becomes clear, once again, we succumb to biological urges. The bodies we have emotionally connected with suddenly become much less attractive. Why obsess over a mere outer shell of bones and flesh? This is a serious and disappointing image, but it seems more realistic than the perfect divine image we have long imagined. Similarly, when we remove the rose-colored glasses of love we realize how delusional we have been in our fervent efforts to gain the presence of our loved one. Later on, we may look back at an ex-lover and wonder, how could I ever have loved that person? How could our biological mechanisms be so easily captivated temporarily by someone who, when viewed with clear eyes, appears normal, or in some cases, even unattractive? 3. Romantic love can cause everlasting pain. Sometimes life is just like that, a constant ebb and flow. And when it comes to love, this is no different. Love can be a wild adventure, exhilarating and thrilling, but its flip side is not devoid of harshness, often bitter pain. It's no surprise to find that love often comes with disappointment, deep sorrow, and other spiritual agonies. Looking at numerous songs, poems, and stories of heartache created by humans, we can easily recognize that pain is an indispensable part of the romantic experience. Broken hearts lead to periods of melancholy, prolonged bouts of intense crying, and even thoughts of suicide and violent acts. The nature of romantic love often begins with a wonderful start, but thereafter, sadness and unfulfilled desires can become the norm. As author and historian Anita Bruckner wrote, "When in love, we find ourselves in a situation seemingly inevitable to pain, whether it's sadness, anger, jealousy, or other complex emotions. The root cause of this suffering is what Buddhist practitioners call the origin of all suffering, the constant attachment and desire for things we bind ourselves to." Philosopher Epictetus clearly explained this. Remember that the pursuit of what you want promises happiness, and the avoidance of what you hate promises relief. However, whoever fails to attain the object of their desire will be disappointed, and whoever must endure their anger will suffer greatly. In romantic love, this means we often believe that only by being with the person we love can we find happiness. For humans, this can be the highest form of attachment. The person we love becomes the center of our world. Therefore, logically, losing that person, or even the possibility of losing them, can lead to an immense sense of pain. According to Buddhist teacher Ajahn Sona, romantic relationships and attachment always go hand in hand. There cannot be romantic relationships without attachment. He said, "You are in a relationship, then one or both of you change, and one wants to leave while the other doesn't." He continued, "At that point, suffering is unavoidable. If you stay, you suffer. If you leave, the other person suffers. That's the terrible side of attachment, and therefore there isn't always a solution to the problem without hurting someone. That's the dangerous reality of emotional dependency." Ajahn Sona's point is that in every relationship, change and difficult times are inevitable, and they are an integral part of loving and living together. The question of whether we should completely avoid romantic relationships is indeed a complex issue. Nietzsche used his terms to describe it as an eternal struggle between Dionysus and Apollo. Whether we should pursue primal instincts and passions or distance ourselves from them by following the path of wisdom and inner peace. From a rational perspective, to achieve happiness, contentment, and inner peace, it may be better to limit romantic involvements. By doing so, we can avoid intense emotions and deep suffering. Moreover, this helps us maintain clarity of mind, not overly dominated by emotional fluctuations. However, life is not solely about logic and reason. Our primal instincts still exist and are not always rational. This is the nature of our human condition, a conflict between fundamental desires and wise reason. Therefore, whichever path we choose, It's important to accept and understand that in life, there will always be sacrifices and difficult decisions. Without love, the bond between couples cannot flourish, and the inspiration to form families will diminish. Life would lack a significant allure. How many achievements, from magnificent artworks to great empires, have humans been driven by romantic love? Regardless of its intensity and emotional roller coaster, can romantic love bring anything else besides being the source of suffering? Not knowing how to assess its value, as Bertrand Russell criticized, could be a great misfortune for any individual. Romantic love, with all its complexity and myriad of emotions, is an indispensable source of inspiration in our lives.